Aloha, this is Steve from Akamai Data Solutions, a datacraft company. This screencast will cover how to create mailing labels from an Excel file of our voter data. First thing you want to do is not mess up your voter file that you got from us. Let's save this to another file that we can mess up. So we'll call this mail and save. And I already have one, so I'm going to overwrite that. Make sure you got the right file open. And we got a lot of extra fields here that we don't need for mailings. And when we get to Word, which is how we would create the mailing labels, it's going to be a problem to have so many fields. So I'm going to just go ahead and start dumping some of these right now. And we do need the address, so I want to dump that. City, state, zip. We don't need cart, lot order. I'm not going to do a barcode, so we'll get rid of that. Get rid of that. We don't need salutation because I'm not going to do a letter. We need addressee. We will need F count. We don't need phone, cart sequence, island. I always like to keep source X in there. Let me save this. Okay, so what we want to do is get rid of the not head of household records. So as you can see, we have some records here that are blank on the addressee field. In the previous screencast, we talked about the householding, and what we do is we take the last name and the residence address for Oahu, or last name and mailing address for neighbor islands, and we run a match, and we have a hierarchy that we set. So we pick the person in the family with the best voting record or earliest registration. There's several factors that go into it, but at any rate, we pick the one that we think is best. And that record gets an addressee that looks like that. It's the last name plus the family. If there's only one person with that last name at that address, then it has the full name. Notice that the head of households have a F count, which stands for family count of 1. The members of the household have numbers 2, 3, 4, etc. And if we, oh, I got rid of those fields. If we looked at the name and the residence address, we would see that these 4 records have the same last name, same residence address. And so if there's a number F count 2 or higher, we want to get rid of them. So to do that, we're just going to do a sort. And when I first did this, an error happened, and it was good because it's an error I want you to be aware of. Excel is really dangerous when you sort. It can sort, we want to sort on this, so we have all the ones together, then all the twos and the threes and so forth. Then we just get rid of all the twos. Well, when I did my first run through here, only the F count field sorted, nothing else sorted. And let's see if that happens again. So we click on sort, smallest to highest. I'm going to go with the current selection, sort, and yes, the problem occurred. The F count is sorted, but if you remember, these are the same guys we had, and see this blanks? We're not supposed to have these blanks. F count ones should always have data in the addressee field. It should never ever be blank. So if you see F count ones and you have blanks, you probably did what just happened now. I'm going to press Control Z. Control Z is a undo. So as long as we don't save, we can undo it. And now it's back to the pre-sorted form. And what we want to do this time is we want to do a custom sort. And we'll say, where's the F count? F count. Click OK. And see how now we have names for every one of these. And the names have changed. Um, we had the Ladera. Well, no, we still have Ladera. some of these, well, I guess the names wouldn't have changed. It's just that the blanks are now gone. All right, so now we want to look for where the fcount ones turn to fcount twos. And that's right here. And as we should see, they're blanks for the addressee field. So we'll highlight everything from there down to the bottom. And I just have a small file, so this won't take too long, but for you it'll take a while. Right click in the blocked area, we'll delete. And now all we have is our fcount ones, and it's looking good. We see addressees with family, and we see some with full names, and that's what we should see. If you don't see any that say family, or you don't see any with full names, something's wrong. Let's save this. All right, so next we want to put this in the zip code order, because in order to do the bulk mail, we have to have it in zip order. So see, we have a 96796 over here. That's no good. So we will do another sort now. Custom sort. This time we're using the zip code, and we will add a level. And you don't need to do this, but I make it a habit of doing it. And I'm going to use it. Darn it, I should have left the last name and first name so we could have sorted on last name and first name. Because what we want to do is be able to find someone that we might at the last minute decide to pull out. Like if you forgot to remove your opponent from the mailing, you would want to find them in the label if you already printed your labels. So we're just going to use addressee, and that should be it. So unfortunately, it could be the last name and family, so it will be a little harder for you to find your opponent in here, but that's an option. And then we click OK, and we'll take the default, OK. So now we look to the addressee, and it is in addressee order. And if we look at the zips, it's order by zip, and within the zip by the addressee. So that's good. Let's save. Remember to always save after every successful thing that you do in Excel. All right, so now that we got all of that set up, there's one more thing to do that's a little tricky. So we have all of these records with zip4s, and we want to see if we have any that don't have a zip4, which in your case there will be in my sample file, I'm not sure. If there's no zip4, there's a couple of possibilities that you need to consider. One is it's an undeliverable address. So that means that when the software tried to match the address to the U.S. Postal Database of addresses across the entire country, it wasn't able to find a match. That could mean the address in this voter file is a bad address. If we looked at the address here, that certainly looks bad, but that's just because I made up the address information and all the information in here. But if it looked good, one of the possibilities is when the data is being punched in, the person doing the punching in couldn't read the handwritten voter registration, and so they punched in what maybe looked like an A, but it's actually an O, or the number 7. Some people write it with a line through, and they put in a 2. So there's a variety of possible errors here. It's also possible that the address is actually good, and the format of the address resulted in no match. Or it could be that the address is, well, it could be the address is gone even. Somebody has, they demolished the property. So there's a lot of possibilities to consider. If you're in a tight race, I probably would mail it. If you're not in a really tight race, then I probably wouldn't. You probably want to get a count to see how many of these you got. So one of the things you could do is do a sort. and we want us, what just happened? Let me do a Control Z, undo, try this again, custom sort. Okay, let's see, delete that. And I want to change this to zip4. Click OK. OK. So we just have two. So yeah, probably just mail them. All right. So if we want to mail it, that does create a little bit of a problem for us for the next step. So for the people that have been buying data from me for many years, I apologize because I didn't realize that it's such a problem to do what we're about to do. We want to have the zip code with the dash followed by the zip plus 4. And to do that is kind of tricky. I couldn't find a way to really do it in Microsoft Word where we would build a label. So what we have to do is insert a column, and I'm going to call this zip4. So be sure to give it a name because when we get to Word, you need to have that. All right, so what we need to do now is concatenate, which means to join these two values together. So to do that, we're going to do a formula. So the formula is uh, this cell. So I'm just using my arrow key. You could use your mouse. Click on there, and then you use the concatenate symbol, which is the ampersand, and then quotes, whoops, quotes and a dash and a quote, and the ampersand, and the click on the zip4, enter, and there it is. That's beautiful. Problem with that is on these. If there's no zip4, then we get that hanging dash over there. If you don't care about that hanging dash, then good. All you do is go right on this little square there. See how it turns into a plus sign, and you just drag it, and it just copies everything. Be sure to check this formula up here. Make sure that it's adjusting as you drag. And in this case, it looks like it is dragging, it is adjusting. So as we move, we should see this number, the 8, change to 7 and 6 and 5 and 4. So we know that the formula is in fact adjusting. So how do we get rid of this? I mean, we could just copy this and paste it in there. There's only two. And in fact, that's probably what I would do. But if you have a lot of these, then you might want to just adjust this um, formula to account for that situation. So there is a if command that we can use, and there is a is blank command. And so we want to check if the field F4, I'm going to type that in, F4 is blank. And if it is blank, then I just want to use, what is this column here? B, C, D, E. I want to use E4. And if it's, see here, so the logical test is if it's blank. If it's blank, then that means the statement is true. So if it's true, we just want the zip, which would be the E4. And now it's highlighting false. So if it's false, then we want to, that means there is a zip4. And we now want to do the concatenation, which we already have here. So all I got to do now is close the parenthesis for that if and enter. And we see that that is working. And we could drag that down, and we see that that is looking good. And let's drag this up and see what happens. And it looks like it didn't work. In fact, it really looks like it didn't work. Okay, but we know the formula is working. So one possibility is, even though this looks blank, it's not really blank. This Excel file is converted from a database type file. So in that conversion, it's possible that a blank in the data file is not converting to the same thing that a Excel sheet considers to be blank. So to test that, we could try and delete, and we see that in fact that is what the problem is. So that would take care of that, but that's kind of a problem because if you have thousands of those, you don't really want to have to delete. But actually, you shouldn't have thousands. You might have a few hundred though. All right, unless you're of course running for governor. Now let's just drag this formula through the whole file. So unfortunately, I don't think there's a faster way. If you have a typical rep district, you have maybe 8,000 or 7,000 uh, households that you're going to have to drag through here. And as you can see, it doesn't drag very fast. Okay. And when you do the drag, again, always make sure that the numbers are adjusting. So we have if 547, and we are on 547. Everything is adjusted to 547. If we click here, it's 546, 545. So we know everything's working good, and we can visually see that 6103 is stuck to that, and 6105. Everything's looking good. Save. Okay, so our file is ready. We got it sorted, and oh no, we changed the sort because we wanted to look at how many of those we had, how many no zip fours. So we got to put this back into order by zip, add a level, and then by addressee. So again, if we had last name, first name, that would be preferable, but we don't because I took them out. All right, so we have this in zip code order, and within the zip code it's by the addressee. So we're good. Save that. Next, we want to go to Microsoft Word. Okay, so I have Microsoft Word open, and again, this is 2007. And if you're using like Office 97, it's going to be different. And it's somewhat similar, but if you have 97 and you can't apply what's covered here to 97, let us know, and we can make you another video. All right, so what we want to do is go into mailings, and we want to pick labels. Oops, sorry. We want to go into mail merge, start mail merge, pick up labels, and we want the label type 5160, which is the 3 across, 10 labels down, 30 labels total per page. It's the typical labels that you can get pretty much anywhere. Personally, I like to get them at Fisher Hawaii because they have a, I guess you could call it a off-brand that is pretty reasonably priced. Okay, so we click OK, select our recipients. We have an existing list, and I have that in my desktop in this folder, and it's our sample mail. And we want, yes, the first row of data contains column headers and looks good. Okay, now we need to set up the labels. So right now there's no setup for the fields. Let me just drag this over a bit. You have a couple of options in how you can do this. If you are doing a mailing, let's say to people you talk to when you walk the district, then you might want to go this route, or you could. And what you do is click on match fields. And for first name, we'll pick addressee. And address is good, city, state, zip we got to change to our zip 4. Did I name it with a dash? I don't remember. Okay, let's click OK. And yeah, I guess I did name it with a dash. All right, so that looks good. One of the things to keep in mind is that it doesn't say our current resident. I wouldn't use this if you are mailing to people that you didn't talk to. So you need to know that they're actually there because, as you probably know, the voter file has a pretty good amount of people that have moved away. Just so you know, we run the data file through the National Change of Address database from the USPS service and try to remove as many of these people as we can. But um, it's not a foolproof process, and it only goes back 4 years. In fact, the one we use is only 18 months. So there's going to be, what goes back 18 months to get a new address. It actually goes back 48 months to know that they moved. And if they moved, then we dump it. And so if you know the person is there for sure, then fine, this is good. However, even if you know the person is there, if you're going to mail bulk mail, then you want to have the or current resident in there. So the or current resident uh, means that you don't have to have your file updated with national change of address moves. If you are mailing bulk, that is a requirement unless you put our current resident, then the requirement doesn't apply. In our case, we're mailing to all the households in our whole file, so we definitely want the our current resident. So we need to go through this in a different way. I'm canceling out of that. And what I'm going to do is instead insert merge fields. So we want our addressee. Let me move this on the side. So we'll insert that. So see how it placed that there. Then we want address. So first we'll just pick all the fields that apply to us. Oops, zip 4. Okay, so then we think we got everything. Then we can start moving things around. Pull that down to its own line and that one to its own line. And now we can put in our or current resident. And let's see, we need a comma after city and a space, and we need 2 spaces after the state. And that looks pretty good except for the line heights here. So Office 2007 has a, I want to say dumb default where it's the line heights are not right, and I could change my default setting, but haven't gotten around to it. So let's see, click OK, and now it's tighter, which looks good. And let's do a preview our results. Whoops, forgot to do one thing. Let's see, where is it? We need to update. Where's the update button? Okay, here's the update labels button. I had to expand Word a little bit, make it a little bigger. And now we see all of our fields, and now we can do preview results. And there we go. Now when you preview, you want to make sure that you have some records that have family, and I don't see any, which tells me I grabbed the wrong file. Let's see. I think. Oh no, it's because I did a sort with the addressee. So the addressees that have a family will have start with the word the, and everything else. So these are Aaron's and so forth. So if we went down to uh, where the T's are, then we would probably see some households, and we could see if we can find some. Yeah, there's too many. That's why it's good to have last name and address. Let's see, let's try, oh, here we go. No, still in C. How about page 30? No, okay, let's just forget it. Um, let's go back to the top. All right, so now we're ready. What we want to do is finish and merge, and we'll, for this case, I'm going to print it to a PDF file. So I'll just change this to QPDF. And if you don't have a PDF writer, I recommend this one. It's free and it's really good. I've used it for years and never had a problem. Um, let's click OK. And give it a better name. My labels. It's not much better, but a little better. Save that. And I'm going to close Word. And I'm not going to bother saving what you would want to save. Yeah, you definitely want to save that template once you've created the template. Let's see. So here's my PDF. And it's looking good. What you want to do is print one label, one page, I mean. Be sure not to print right away until you verify that it's laying out properly. And we'll just do the current page and we'll print that. And then we get that probably printed on plain paper, not on a label page. And then compare the two to make sure it's lining up properly. Now, if it's not lining up properly, there's very possibly a setting in your printer that you got to change. The scaling type, when you print PDFs, sometimes it's set to that by default, and that will throw the lineup off. See, if I do that, this page zoom changes to 96.94, and 100% is what you want. Now, depending on your software, this could be somewhere down here. It might be in different locations. The verbiage might be slightly different, but basically that's what you're looking for. No scaling, print the guy as is. And after you've confirmed everything is good, then you can go ahead and print all. Um, Labels are expensive, so be sure you're careful when you're printing. Don't just go for it. And that takes care of this screencast. I hope it was helpful. And if you need us to do any different ones, let us know. And if we can, we'll definitely try to accommodate you. Aloha.